Hello everybody, welcome to another All the Mods 9 Minecraft video. My name is JawshyGG, and today we're going to be expanding on our Mekanism stuff. We're going to be collecting all the gear we need for it, or all the resources. We're going to be crafting the stuff, and we're likely going to be moving the current setup that we have to somewhere more temporarily permanent. I did some stuff off recording. I expanded the farm a little bit. I created this inferium, simple inferium farm with inferium farmland, with a modular router, a harvester, and an iron chest here with some inferium essence coming into it. I did also create the infusion altar and pedestals so that we can start infusing our seeds. And I had to move this over to this side because this just was not collecting any power. Oh, and I created a workbench, Workbench Plus, which is going to be used for creating the chunk destroyer in the future. But that's not what we're doing today. Today, we're going to be expanding out this little stuff we have here, and we're likely going to be moving it to somewhere that is going to be a little bit more efficient for what we need. And I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible without going too crazy like I did in my All the Mods 8 one, since I know a little bit more about how to set this up appropriately. So the first one we're going to be doing here is the chemical injection chamber. Now I have all the stuff we're going to need here. So if we come into here and we look at our chemical injection chamber, you can see we're going to need a couple different things. For one, we're going to need a purification chamber. We're going to need 4 reinforced alloys, 2 elite control circuits, and 2 gold ingots. Now, to make the elite control circuits, we need an advanced control circuit and 2 reinforced alloys, which we get with infused alloy with enriched diamond and a metallurgic infuser. So if you remember in the All the Mods 8 playthrough, I had 4 of these little metallurgic infusers set up, so I didn't have to dump out the current stuff that we had in there. And I'm likely going to do something similar in this playthrough because I feel like that would be a little bit more efficient as we move forward. So let's go ahead and grab this one right here, and we're going to do our stuff here. So we're going to set this up kind of right over here, away from the farm and everything. It'll be a little bit further away. We're going to be dealing with some power stuff a little bit later on in a future episode, but we're going to focus on building out this aspect. So this is going to be the redstone one, and I'm going to try to keep these somewhat aligned, but we are going to need more chemical, what are those called? Metallurgic infusers. We're going to need more of those. So let's go ahead and go back into our quest book here, and we're going to look for where the metallurgic infuser is, which is this one right here. We're going to go back in here, and then we're going to see what we need to make these. So I'm going to need a redstone one, an enriched diamond one, and an enriched obsidian one. So I'm going to need 2 more. Beautiful. So we have just enough, actually we have plenty of material to be able to make multiple of these. So now we can basically set these up similar to how we did in our other playthrough, our All the Mods 8. And this will kind of be the beginning area. And if you're curious, the way you can get enriched diamonds is by taking a pack of diamonds and throwing them into, not the purification chamber, the enrichment chamber. And that will make the enriched diamonds. Now, this does take up quite a bit of energy, but it'll be okay. What we will do here is we will set up a way to separate this from the power source that we'll be using for our Mekanism factory. And that's going to be something that is going to be necessary, as this right here is very early game power. This is not going to provide us anywhere near enough power to be able to do what we're going to want it to do. So we're going to need, and this absolutely won't provide anywhere close to the amount of power that we're going to need. So we are going to need to expand upon this. And I'm thinking likely for the early game stuff, we go with extreme reactors, because those are relatively simple to build. They're relatively simple to maintain. Just throwing in some uranium, getting some biolite, or whatever the crap this stuff's called. Cyanite, I guess. It's not that difficult to make. So that'll allow us an opportunity to be able to, let me rephrase that. Creating an extreme reactor over here would allow us to be the opportunity to be able to push the power through all of these without having to worry so much about draining the power from our main base, which is a huge step early game is to getting power solutions separated specifically for the early game aspect, because you don't want to utilize all of the power controlling your base here, because if you end up losing your refined storage or your applied energistic storage solution, you won't have any capability of being able to access your gear without crafting. If you're using refined storage, you would have to use the portable grid, which means you have to pull the disk out, plop it in the portable disk grid, and then grab the items you need. And then I think the same with applied energistics, or might be something similar to that in here. I haven't actually messed too much with applied energistics, which is going to be something that I will need to do. And I'll likely do something like that somewhere here in the mining dimension. But really the idea is I want to be able to expand kind of further on than what I'm doing now, and kind of build out. Wow. My brain just stopped working. What was I saying? I want to be able to expand out my refined storage, because I'm comfortable with refined storage, and the idea is to go through this as quote unquote as quickly as possible. So we'll see what happens. So I guess the next step here is to grab some iron ingots. This is absolutely going to be is that all the iron? That's not all the iron things I have. Create our stuff here, and we're going to need to utilize our reactor here to unfortunately we're going to have to use our reactor here for the time being until we can get our stuff created for the power for the full-on system that we're going to be using. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to take this down here, grab a shovel. Hold on one second. Are you good? I have a weird dog. I got to make sure she's not. She ended up chewing on one of my door frames not too long ago, and I have to make sure she doesn't do that again. I'm probably going to need to make more energy pipes. Yep, indeed. Oh, I can use. No, I can't use any of those. Okay, I will have to make more energy pipes. That's fine. Wait, I have a chest in there? What? Why do I have a chest in there? Oh, because I got rid of the chest that was over there. Never mind. Energy pipe. Let's go ahead and see if we can make some more of these. We are missing iron. That's right. And redstone blocks. Thankfully, we have these. And let's go ahead and make... Wait, we need 2 of these. 1, 2. 16 should be fine for now. And then we'll get rid of this, and then we'll grab our... We should have... I only have 9 iron ore. So I'm definitely going to need to go down and do some mining here soon for more iron. Let's do this. And then grab our wrench. Now, wait, I need that dirt back. Whee. Okay, cool. So this is going to create our infused alloy. This is going to allow us to take that infused alloy and turn it into reinforced alloy. And then I'll work on getting some iron here in a little bit, because iron's pretty important. And this right here is not providing the iron solution. I mean, the amount of iron that I need, I definitely need more. So yeah, we will go do that here shortly. So this is going to create, like I said, our reinforced alloy, which is going to be utilized for our chemical injection chamber here, because we need a couple of these for our elite control circuits, as well as for the actual thing. So purification chamber just requires that. So we can probably go ahead and make another one of those real quick and just make sure that that's one of the items I do need. It is indeed. So we do need more infused alloy actually. So let's go ahead and go mining for more iron while we are waiting for those to finish up. Because I mean, that's all this land here is chunk loaded, so it should be fine. And we should be able to find plenty of iron down below. So yeah, skirt. That's the idea for these for this video. Is we're going to focus on the metallurgic factory. We're going to move some stuff around. Probably in the next video, we will focus on building out the new power solution that I need to put in place for our basically for the metallurgic factory, or for the mechanism factory, because the mechanism factory is going to take up a lot of energy. It's going to take up a lot of power, and we're going to need to be able to use that to get as many ores and resources that we can, but also I want to have enough resources. I also need to get enough resources, including iron, for the upgrades that we're going to need. Because we're going to need to make a bunch of speed upgrades, energy upgrades, as well as a bunch of muffling upgrades. Because I want this to be quiet to a degree. I don't actually need all of this stuff, but I do need some redstone. Some coal right there is good. Grabbing as much redstone, iron, and coal as I can, because those are pretty useful in these situations. That's one of the benefits, though. If you're new to all the mods, this is the first video you're watching of the series, and you're trying to make the decision if you want to move into and play all the mods 9. You should probably start with part number 1, because there's a lot to it. This entire mod pack has a ridiculous amount of stuff in it that would honestly be more suited from starting from the beginning. But if you're just watching this to see if this is a mod pack that you may potentially want to play, it might take you a little longer to get to this point unless you're playing on an older update, not the recent one that just came out as of March or April 3rd. You do want to try to get as much like gear and resources and material and everything as you can. That will provide you with just the capability of being able to mine all the modium from the deep, not the deep dark. It is the deep dark. Yeah. Oh, what did I do? How did I do that? Hold on a minute. That's awkward. Good thing I have the rabbit hoppers on. I genuinely just wasn't even paying attention. Anyway, but yeah, so you'll want to get all the modium as quickly as you can, particularly so that you can get yourself into the mining dimension as quickly as you can, because the mining dimension is a critical piece to collecting a ridiculous amount of resources. And then another thing that I would absolutely recommend getting quickly is enough resources and materials for the chunk destroyer. While you won't be able to physically store everything that you collect from the chunk destroyer, you will, however, be able to collect a bunch of resources that you would not normally be able to do in a quick time frame. So just keep that in mind. That's just kind of the idea that I like to run with here, and that's kind of why I went the route that I did with my All the Mods 9 playthrough. Having done All the Mods 8, having played through that and actually beaten it at this point by creating the ATM star singular one, which I still have to do the rest of the instruction, like revisiting videos where I revisit some of the different, okay, really? Don't throw my pickaxe. Revisiting some of the different items that are made in the ATM star. There's just a lot to it, and I will get to that whenever I can. I just don't want to get too far away from this series because I do want to do more with my All the Mods 9 series. Because I need to get a little bit further in this one too. So keep in mind that stuff is still coming. I just need a decent time period to do that. So let's go back to our mining dimension home. Grab some of this iron out of here. I think that should be enough iron for a little bit, maybe. Cool. All right. So this stuff is still kind of pushing out. We got 32 of these now. We can turn those into infused alloys, which we will need to turn some more diamonds into enriched diamonds. So let's go ahead and grab these guys right here, throw them into the enrichment chamber. Grab these guys right here and put them in here. Boom. Look at there. Okay. So now that we've gotten a little bit more resource stuff, let's go ahead and create our purification. Okay. Enrichment chamber. And then create our purification chamber. And then create our chemical ejection chamber. Once we have enough stuff to make this. 1, 2. Oh, I need... Darn, I need a couple more of those. Oh, wait. Yeah. There we go. Now I need more reinforced alloy. Which I should have 3 in here. I do. Cool. Okay. So now we can make our chemical ejection chamber. Throw those in there. And now we have that quest line finished. And then it's going to point us in the direction of crafting the thermal evaporation station thingy. These guys right here. But let's go ahead and start with the other one first, which is which we can't, I guess it would require us to make this first. So I guess we can go ahead and start with this. We're going to need a couple things for this, but this is basically what the thermal evaporation plant will do. Is this is actually going to take water that you push in from like a sink or something, or a water source, and it will turn it into brine. The brine will then be sent into the chemical ejection chamber. So, or either, the chemical injection chamber that will then separate the brine and give you sodium and chloride. The chemical infuser will then combine your sodium and chloride, or your hydrogen and chloride, and create hydrogen chloride. So chlorine, that's what it's called, chlorine. Let's see, pump in water and you'll start collecting brine, which can be pumped into an electrolytic separator to extract chlorine from the gas. So yeah, that's what it does. I was completely wrong. Don't listen to me. Okay, so for the thermal evaporation plant, thermal evaporation is going to require a couple of things. For one, it's going to require these blocks, which are made with steel ingots and copper. To create steel ingots, you obviously just need steel dust, which to create steel dust, you basically just need to take iron dust with 4 pieces of coal with a hammer. To create iron dust, you just need to take iron ingots with a hammer. Match iron ingots with a hammer, which I think we have a little bit more iron ingots coming in, which is good. We can throw those in there. We obviously do need to keep an eye on our storage solution because we can run out of storage pretty quickly. But we do have a hammer. I do have a copper hammer here, and I'm going to grab some iron real quick. We'll just do a stack of 64, and that will destroy the hammer like almost instantly. Wonderful. Which we can make another one real quick. Another one of the iron ore hammers by making 2 of these, and then let's invar. I need iron. There we go. Boom. And then we can do this again, and we can actually create another stack of these. I'm not going to use the full thing because what we're going to do now is we're going to throw the iron ingot, right there, hammer right there. We're going to bring our coal out. Do this. And then we're going to get 32 coal from that with that one hammer. And then we'll come back and we'll grab this hammer and probably get like 20 out of it. Or we got 8. Okay, or 4. That's cool. All right, so now we need to make another hammer. Let's craft 2 more hammers. Okay. So then we'll do our iron dust. Grab our iron dust here. Grab our coal. Luckily we have enough coal and we can do that. That'll craft our 28. That'll create the 64 from that. And then we just do this. And that creates the 64 from that. And then of course, all we got to do with that is just come over here to our furnaces that are basically completely out of power at this point and throw our stuff in there. Cool. So now we are making our steel ingots, which are beneficial for these thermal evaporation blocks, which, how many are we going to need again? Let's take a look. So it's telling me that I'm going to need 37 total evaporation blocks, which is a couple. we should be able to make a couple of these, so we'll make whatever we can. 36 and then that right there. So that should be enough right there. Beautiful. Okay. So we got 37 of those, and then we have to create, okay, let's see. Start by crafting a 4x3x4 structure that is hollow in the middle except for the base. You can replace any of the sides with a controller or valve. So we do need to make one of these. I just got rid of it off my screen. So we do need to craft one of these, which requires a glass pane, which I think we have enough glass to make a couple glass panes. Boom, looky there. Then we'll come back here, craft our controller. And then the last thing we're going to need out of this is 2 of these thermal evaporation valves. Now, did it again, but this is going to require some advanced control circuits. We just need 2. So let's craft 2 of these. Boom. Okay, so now we have the stuff we need for right there. So what we're going to do is it's going to be a, grab this stuff out of there. It's going to be a 4x3x4. So it's going to be 4 on the bottom. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, you know what I want to do? And this is just the minimal version that you can make with this. You can make ones that are even bigger, but they pretty much have to maintain that that same kind of size to it, I guess is the best way to put it. So basically, kind of show you this right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it'll be like this. Basically, would have to maintain this same 4x4 size right here, but then all we have to do after that is basically just craft up like this, and then that's as high as you have to go with it. And of course, we're going to need more because we had to turn everything, all the other ones, into those particular things. So we can come back in here. We can grab some of these. Just grab a couple more of these. Boom. That should be fine. I think that might be too many, but whatever. Nope, that's not the one I wanted. Do. And then, of course, we just need one of these to be a controller, the controller right here, which is this one right here. So we'll plop the controller down right there, plop this one down right there. So this is actually, no, let's do it this way. Let's grab the controller over here. We're going to plop the controller right there and that right there, and then we're going to plop a valve right there, and then we need 1, 2 more of those. We're going to have 2 extras, which is fine. Boom. And then the valve will go right there. Or wait, yeah, a valve will go right there. So other valve will go right there, and then now it'll say it's done. And then all we have to do from this point is now just grab a sink. So I'm going to make this as simple as I can make it, because I don't necessarily need an infinite, like a crazy water source or anything like that. I'm going to need some terracotta, which means I'm going to need some clay, which I should have enough to make the exact amount I need. So let's go ahead and do that. Turn these into terracotta, and then this will make us the clay, the sink that we need. Boom, 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 boom. Oh wait, I don't have a bucket of water. I have a bucket, just not a bucket of water. Beautiful. And we'll plop that down right there. Grab that. Thankfully, we get to keep our bucket. And then we just bring it back over here. And then this right here is going to be the outbound one. This one right here is going to be the inbound one. So all we got to do is just plop that right there. And then we just need a universal pipe. And again, this is This is only early game stuff. I'm not going to do, like, this is not something that I'm going to keep this way for a long duration. We're just going to do that, and we're going to plop that right there, and you should see it start filling up with water. Yep, there we go. So you can see the water's filling up right there, and then that will kind of show right here that the water's filling up. But there's something that we're missing here that is a crucial component to turning this water into brine, and that is some type of heating element, whether that be through solar or through what is called a passive or a resistive or fuel wood heater. So a fuel wood heater will burn buckets of lava, which can then be piped in using a pipe that transfers the heat, while the resistive heater uses RF or FE to produce heat, and that can also be set to whatever, you know, if it needs to be RF, it can be RF, if it needs to be RE, it can be, or FE, it can be FE. So let's take a look at what we're going to need for the resistive heater for the time being, which is this bad boy right here, which we're going to need a steel casing with an osmium ingot, which we should have some osmium in here. We do. So let's go ahead and grab some of this osmium. We're just going to manage a single stack of these. I think yep, everything should be done. Okay, that's good. And then now we will go back into here and we will create our steel casing and then craft our resistive heater. And this will allow us to heat. It won't heat very quickly, unfortunately, but it will heat. And I'll kind of show you how this works. So now that we have kind of realized we're going to need some type of heating element for this, I need more energy pipes. I actually want to test to see if this works because I've never actually done this before, done it this way at least. I think that should be enough, right? Could very well not work this way, but we're going to test it. Okay, so it is a little warm. It's obviously not warm enough to make any major impacts, and there's another way to really make that work efficiently. The reason I did it this way is I wanted to see if I could connect the resistive heater to the same kind of to the same pipe that I have the sink connected to, and it appears you can. I don't know if that limits the total heat, but this will basically fill up. You can kind of see it's kind of filling. And then it will turn whatever we pipe out into brine, which is used in other areas. But anyway, you get what I'm trying to do there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to need some more uranite. So let's go into our space here, grab this raw uranite and throw it in here. And I think I have some more in here, which I do indeed. Pop. Which is not enough. We absolutely need more. And this is something that will be very beneficial long term, like later on down the road, where once we get our, brain stopped working. Once we get our chunk destroyer, it'll help out significantly because it'll allow us to pump uranite or raw uranite into a furnace through our network. And then that will then be pumped after it is done being cooked into our reactor, directly into a chest into our reactor. So you can see it's still using power. And that is what this little heater right here does. It uses a significant amount of power. You can see I can turn it down a little bit. It'll use up a little less power. But you can see the temperature does go down from that. So the temperature is about 800 and some odd. You can see right here, the temperature is only 299.61 K. It's not, as far as I'm aware, it's not creating any brine yet. I don't know what the levels need to be at for that, but that allows us, yeah, you can see right there, it's actually, uranite's going down, the energy's going up. Granted, I'm not using any more of these, so that could also be a pretty big impact too. But yeah, so we have now crafted our thermal evaporation. Now we need our chemical infuser, which is going to combine two gases to create a new gas. But to do that, we need to send our brine into an electrolytic separator. Well, we have one of those right here. The electrolytic separator is what we have been using to turn our hydrogen or our water into hydrogen and oxygen, and then push the oxygen into our purification chamber, which then basically does its thing. So we are going to need to create another electrolytic separator, which I don't think this one's as resource heavy as the other ones. This just requires some electrolytic core, which requires some iron dust, which we can make some here. Let's just make a bunch, or a couple, I should say. And then now we can make one of these. We are now out of infused alloys, which means I am going to need to take about half a stack of these and throw them into our metallurgic fuser right there. And this should actually get us the amount we need for that. Beautiful. Okay, so now what we're going to do here is this is where we're going to bring our brine into our electrolytic separator. The electrolytic separator will then communicate over to the chemical infuser here. So this is basically going to turn, let's see, this machine combines two gases to create new gases. You'll need this to combine chlorine with hydrogen to create the hydrogen chloride, which is used in our chemical injection chamber. So now we need a chemical infuser. Grab out these out of here. Let's grab one more just in case, because I don't actually remember if it's going to require 4. I actually don't know what the chemical infuser requires. So let's take a look here, shall we? So we can get rid of those two. Now we have the chemical injection chamber done, so we can mark that one off. Now we need the chemical infuser, which requires 4 of those and 2 of these basic chemical tanks, which we can make both of those real quick. And then now we're just going to need a steel casing. Boom. And then we can make our chemical infuser. The chemical infuser will go likely, let's see. How do y'all have it set up? This machine. Okay, so basically this will communicate to our chemical infuser. So this machine combines 2 gases to create a new gas. You'll need this to combine chlorine with hydrogen. So this right here will actually pull chlorine out of it. And this right here will pull hydrogen from our sink, which I can basically put a cable let's not do that one right there. Let's do it over here, actually, because I want this to be as smooth as possible. So I can have the hydrogen being pumped in from the back here. I can basically put a sink down right there and then pump the hydrogen into the back. And then now this will send that to here. So we have our chemical infuser, our resistive heater done. So we have our electrolytic separator, our chemical infuser, and our chemical injection chamber done. Now we need to start looking at the other areas. So now you should have 5 machines ready to go process your ores. Are you ready to make it even more complicated? Your factory should be a chemical injection chamber, purifying chamber, crusher, enrichment chamber, furnace smelter. So these are the 3 that we had first. Now, of course, the purification chamber is basically pulling from this electrolytic separator to grab the oxygen, which actually, if I have the hydrogen going into this one, because the hydrogen will need to go into the chemical infuser. So let's grab some more clay, make some more terracotta, and then make another sink real quick, because I want to try something. Beat-a-doo. 1, 2, 3. Boom. Oh, I need a bucket. Actually, I think I need 2 more of those, because I think I had to originally. So let me just make 2 more of these real quick. Oops. Now we'll go back to this, because I'm pretty sure it's 5. Yeah, it's 5. Okay. Cool. I'll kind of show you what I'm thinking here. So, oops, wrong one. Let's do this, this, and this. Beautiful. Okay. So what I think we could do is we can dig down right here. Do we want to put it right there? Do we need it right here? Like, is that really... Hold on. I want to see something. So if I put it over here, over to the side, and kind of have it like actually work right here, or if I keep it right here, I just don't want this to be super cluttered like it was in my other series. And I don't know if our pipes will pull in appropriately. So let's grab our pipes real quick. We have our wrench, so that should be okay. I don't know if the pipes will pull in from the bottom. So if we do, or from the top, I mean. So if we do this and then this, and then I do this and this, pull from there, do that, this. So this should, in theory, show, okay, the back is this, which is not energy. I need this to be gas, input 1. I don't know if once I give this power, if that will actually do what I need it to do, but we're going to test. We're just going to test this real quick. I need more energy pipes. Absolutely need to start making more, getting more stuff ready for the next few solutions that we're going to be doing, but we'll see what happens. So we'll do this, 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 and this, and then we'll connect them right there, and this, and wait, no. This, and this. And now, this should be pulling that. I'm just trying to see if this will actually pull in the gas. I'm actually going to turn auto eject off real quick. Let's see, I'm actually going to clear all of these real quick because I don't want this pulling anything until I actually get everything set up appropriately. So we're going to clear all this stuff out just so I can make sure we're good. Of course, I'll throw the energy back on the bottom. So we'll do energy config. We'll do input energy from right there. Energy config, input, energy, input. Okay. So now that should charge off 3 of these. So it doesn't appear that this is actually... Okay. So let's see. Okay. Did not mean to do that. Cool. Okay. So if I do gases, input 1 from the back, it's not actually working. Okay. Cool. That's fine. That's good that we figured that one out. I really am just doing this to make sure I know the capabilities that are available to me. So I'll have to look at a good way of doing this. So I could, in theory, throw this sink right there, because this right here is going to be that. And I just don't want, it's going to anyway, so let's go ahead and just do this right here so I can do this right here. And then that should start pulling in hydrogen once I do this right here. It is not. Okay. Interesting. How did that get on there? Chemical infuser. You'll need this to combine chlorine with hydrogen. So maybe I should do this and do input 2 for that, and let the hydrogen come up right here, and then have the chlorine come from the left, input 1, and then output. So yeah, let's see, and then the back on this one will be gases, and this will be the electrolytic separator. What does this one do again? Chemical injection chamber. I'm backwards with this, aren't I? Oh yeah, this, okay. So yeah, electrolytic separator to extract chlorine. So if I input fluid from the back, it should in theory, or is brine a gas? No, brine's not a gas. No, brine's not a gas. Okay. Interesting. I'm curious. Let's see. It doesn't seem like it's hot enough to actually be producing any anything. Let's see. It's using a significant amount. This is not grabbing any water. Okay, the temperature did not go up when I did that. Okay, so that's pretty much just the general sense of what this is. So I'll have to figure that out. But pretty much how this is going to work is this is going to pull the brine into the electrolytic separator. The electrolytic separator will then separate the brine into chlorine and something else. The chlorine will then move into this one right here. And then hydrogen will be pushed from our sink here into the, wait a minute. That's why, because this needs an electrolytic separator to create hydrogen. So that wouldn't work anyway. That's why it wasn't working. Duh. So in theory, this electrolytic separator needs to be over here. Let's go ahead and grab our sink, this guy, and these guys. Okay. So our sink does need to be over here. And what will happen is when I do this right here, grab this guy, I'm going to grab my wrench again and I'm going to turn that off for the time being. And then I'm going to have to do the same with this one and this one. Nope, just that one. Okay. And of course, got to turn that one off and then do this. And then, no. What am I doing? I did the exact same thing. You guys, give me a second. Okay. It won't work right there. So let's do this right here instead. So what I'm trying to do here is basically this electrolytic separator will fuel the hydrogen into this chemical infuser on this side. The chlorine will be on this side, and then it'll make hydrogen chloride, right? Let's see. Yeah, hydrogen chloride. So I do need to put this right here, and then the sink will go right here, and that will go right there, and then boom. And, okay. So fluid on the right will input. Do that. Left will input or output. I'll put one left, so then I'll just do this and this. And then I'll pull from this. Then this one, the gas, will do input 1, input 2. So I do need to, crap. I don't think I have enough stuff to make a gauge. I might. This is the one unfortunate thing that I don't like. I do. Sweet. Cool. A gauge is really useful, but it can be quite annoying to deal with. So yeah. So now, this doesn't have any power, as you can tell. I mean, it doesn't have any room to put the oxygen anywhere. So what we'll do here is the purification chamber is what will utilize the oxygen. So we'll grab the purification chamber. The purification chamber will go right here. And then it will basically say, let's do that right there. And then it'll output to the right. So we'll do that right there. And then we're going to do that right there as well, where we turn this one off. Okay. And then that one turn off as well. Cool. So now how it will work is when I come back over here and grab these two, I'll just do the exact same thing. Enrichment chamber will be on the end. So enrichment chamber right there, and then crusher right here. And then now the crusher, everything will pretty much be the same with this. Instead, now I can come back over here and I can grab these guys right here. Okay. So now we should have enough energy pipes to inevitably power all this stuff. So let's do this right here. And then do. Okay. So we'll do this right here. And then we'll connect them this way. And then watch this. Nothing happens. And the reason nothing is happening, it's a very simple reason, honestly. The reason is because if you look, this right here has nowhere to push oxygen. So what we're going to have to do here is fill this in, because I have OCD and I absolutely need to fill that part in too. Cool. Okay. So now what we can do is I can clear out of that, put these away, and then I can grab a ore. Let's just grab these 15. And then we'll bring them back over here. And then we will throw them in here. And now what you'll see is what we'll do for this is we will, for gases, we will output 2 from here. So now you can see the oxygen is going down, the hydrogen is going to start going up. But instead, the hydrogen is going to be pushed into this one. The hydrogen will then fill up right there. And then now we have our beginning section. Again, keep in mind, this is very, very early game. This is not how we're going to continue and maintain this stuff. So I'm going to have to figure out some things in regards to the energy and power. Power, of course, being a huge key component because, well, if you look, I have no uranite. So let's yonder down and grab some yonder down. What? Let's head on down and grab some. Wait, do I have any? I do not. Let's head on back down and grab some more. Try to find some more raw uranite, because that's going to absolutely run out of power. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to collect as much raw uranite as I can get. Unfortunately, that is going to take some time. So just bear with me while we do this. This is a kind of a big piece to the puzzle. But like I said, once we get the chunk destroyer, that'll be significantly easier for us to find and get as much, basically as much uranite as we need. And again, this is not necessarily going to be a long-term solution for our... Do I have? Okay, I do. I was really confused why I wasn't feeding me. This is not going to be a long-term solution for our power stuff. So we do have to... we won't have to maintain this uranite for long. Once we create the other reactors, it'll run a lot smoother because uranium is a lot easier to find, in my opinion, than uranite. And then, of course, once we get our Mekanism reactors started up, it will be a whole lot different because then we will be able to start managing and holding power like we do in with an induction chamber, or induction matrix, my apologies, with the induction matrix, which is a whole different beast in and of itself. I'm not going to collect all this inferium just yet. I'm going to hold off on that. I'm on a mission to find uranite, and I will find uranite if it's the lapis thing I do. Sorry, that was really horrible. But yeah, so creating basically finishing this part of the mechanism. Like this is, and I'll just put it this way. This is a requirement. Doing this mechanism stuff is a requirement for me to be able to collect the grab the prosperity while I'm here. Collecting doing the mechanism factory the way that I'm doing it is a requirement before I can even start working on the mechanism reactors. And if you were like me at the beginning of All the Mods 8, when I first started kind of like diving into the mechanism reactors, the fusion, the fission reactor, the one that could go nuclear and end up exploding, I was very much worried about creating it. I didn't want it to blow up, so I was very hesitant to create it. And it took me a long time to realize that it's not as difficult, and it's not as it's really not as bad as it comes off as. Like, yeah, there's warnings everywhere, like this can explode if you're not careful. You just have to be mindful with your resources. Collect as much of the resources you can early game. Develop a pathway and a solution to be able to maintain those resources by continuously collecting them, searching for as much as you can find, things like that. It's going to be critical because if you're wanting to build the ATM star, you need you have to have these reactors to get antimatter pellets. And if you're just not wanting to build the ATM star, there are other power solutions that are really good that you can use that do not require you to go that route. The fusion reactor is a really good one that doesn't necessarily require you to build the fission reactor. You, of course, need a bunch of power to be able to power it, and it can explode as well, but it won't be as nuclear as it would with the fission reactor. So just think about what you want to build with your power. Think about what you need the power for. And as you can tell, I'm over here finding a bunch of uranium. I mean, uranium is used for the bigger reactors, so maybe you don't necessarily need that much power, and a bigger reactor could work for you. Just look at what you're going to need power for. If you're not necessarily doing this for the ATM star or the Greg star in All the Mods 9, or both, I should say, in All the Mods 9, then it's not a necessity that you build the fission reactor. But it can be a very beneficial tool as you move forward because you can get a ridiculous amount of power from it. So just keep that in mind. If you're a newer player thinking about getting into All the Mods 9, plan out what you're wanting to accomplish early on. Collect as much of the resources as you can get early game. Start working on developing a path and a strategy to be able to continue collecting those resources long term with like automating that process. That's what the mystical gardens are for, or mystical agriculture garden. I call them mystical gardens, but they're mystical agriculture seeds and everything. That's one thing that I'm absolutely going to do. I'm going to create a uranite one because that is a critical piece of ensuring that we at least have some type of resource coming in, especially this early game. I don't actually know what the uranite seeds require, which version or how far in Mystical Garden it's going to be, like it's going to require, but I don't think it's that much. So just keep that stuff in mind as you play through. If you're not a new player and you're just watching this for the fun of it to make fun of my abilities, yeah, more power to you. Hopefully you're enjoying overall though. I really, that's the big thing, is that I genuinely want every single one of you, everybody who's watching this, regardless if you have played All the Mods 9, have played any of all the mods, or just enjoy Minecraft in general. I want you guys to enjoy these videos because these videos are they're specific towards an audience, and that specific audience is Minecraft players, and mostly Minecraft mod pack players. Because in reality, if I were to just try to do this, if I were to just do this and tell somebody who just plays vanilla Minecraft to watch my videos, they're going to be like, I don't understand anything about what you're doing here. So, so yeah. Another big thing that I really like is being able to mass delete these items. But of course, I do need a better solution. I do need to not come up with, but I do need to set up that trash can solution pretty quickly, because doing this is going to be quite annoying at times. Yeah, and another big thing to remember, if you're watching this and you have ideas or you have thoughts or suggestions or anything like that, I'm always up to hear your guys' opinions on things, because you guys, especially those of you who have played all the mods before, I wouldn't be able to maintain nearly half of what I do here without your guys' support. And if you guys aren't like capable, like not capable, but if you guys are like, oh, well, you're doing this, this, and this, but you could be doing this, this, and this. If you guys know that information, just let me know. Like I'm always up for any type of genuine explanation on things. So it looks like uranite seeds are going to be with supremium essence, which is actually really surprising, considering this is technically considered technically an early game solution. But anyway, so you can see now there is a bunch of oxygen here. There's no energy, but there's a bunch of oxygen there. This is pretty much doing its thing. Oh wait, I need to get rid of that, which means I can put that in here actually. Boom, boom, beautiful. Okay. So yeah, pretty easy stuff though, honestly. Like if you're new to Minecraft and you're willing to learn and you're wanting to do more in the Minecraft sphere of things, definitely check out all the mods, whether it be all the mods 8, all the mods 9, whatever. I genuinely think you guys will enjoy it. This is not pulling any power because I think it's still trying to push power here. But like I said early on, if you are very, very much determined to do stuff in this one, be mindful. I would recommend going the route of developing multiple power sources. Multiple power sources for different areas of your base, early game especially, just so that you're not utilizing the same power source for everything. Because if this power source over here were to go down and it was connected to this, or if I was to run out of uranite and not realize it, I would lose this. And that's why I have this connected to this right here. I know it's not doing as much, but it is allowing me the opportunity to really get what I need. And having only one of these, you can see like this is gonna take forever to recharge, and then this stuff right here isn't really going to get any energy until that stuff over there is full, and then that's not going to get any energy until all of these have energy. So it's basically just like this right here, of course, being another thing. Like if I don't create a secondary power source, all of this stuff down here is basically just going to be unpowered. So I might create another one of these power reactors and plop it down over here next to this. But as I was mentioning a little bit earlier with the thermal evaporation generator, you can actually, keeping this at a 4x4 on the bottom, you can actually expand this up, I think, to 28 blocks. So I only have 2 right here. And the reason I put that bottom layer in the ground is so that I could just jump up here and then expand up without having to tear anything down. You just don't want to expand outwards or anything like that. This is pretty much the perfect size for what you'll need. But yeah, so I think we're pretty much on the right train of thought here. I think we have an opportunity to continue growing this base outwards. Now, of course, this is probably going to end up changing. The look of this is likely going to end up changing. I don't know when. I don't know how. I don't know what. But the idea is that I want to build my base out like kind of over in this general area over here and expand it beyond what I have in my All the Mods 8 one. I still haven't decided what I want to do base-wise yet. That will come. And if you look at this is actually collecting a decent amount of your Inferium Essence, which is going to be beneficial because that will allow us to continue onwards. But I do have 16K, two 16K storage disks in here, and I might create a third one and try to start moving everything into those and then expand out as much as I can. But we were able to get a couple more items here done from our Mekanism. So we have all the way up to the this basically all the way up to here. So now the next video is likely going to be me focusing on doing the tier 4 ore factory. So we got our tier 1 done, our tier 2 done, our tier 3 done, and now we're working on our tier 4. So let's talk about what's in tier 4 real quick. So first and foremost, you have your chemical dissolution chamber, which is going to be needing your rotary condensator. You have your chemical washer and your chemical crystallizer, and then you pretty much have it look like this right here. It's really not that difficult to make. In all honesty, the whole lot of this is genuinely easier to understand once you actually get to that point, like where you've made it and can kind of look at everything. And this is the same thing with like any of the other mods that you do. If you're just making it without actual explanation, like if you look at create, I think create is very, very minimal on the amount. And I don't even think create had anything on all the mods 8, if I'm not mistaken, in terms of like the descriptions and everything. But in Mekanism, like if you go down here, they give you a full-on picture of what it should look like. So you have your sulfuric acid, your dissolution chamber, your washer, your crystallizer, your injection chamber, your purification chamber, your crusher, your enrichment chamber, and then your smelter. And that right there will multiply a singular ore 5 times. And that is something that is going to be critical for the future of our series because it will allow us to collect a ridiculous amount of resources. Couple things to note about this. Number one, it only takes raw ores. So technically I could not bring over raw uranite and throw it into our purification chamber. It just does not work. It can take all the modium, can take iron, can take all those guys, but it will not take uranite or anything like that. So you cannot, some things like that, you cannot multiply or duplicate in that fashion. But either way, you're still able to duplicate this significantly. So once we get to our tier 4, that'll basically be like right in this little section right here. This is already, in all honesty, this is already looking a lot cleaner than what our one in all the mods 8 looked like. If you remember that one, just note that I'm sorry that you had to witness that. But regardless, we are pretty much on the right train of thought here. I'm very excited to continue with this pathway of expanding out our base and beginning the processes that we have that we'll need for Mekanism. And this is going to be something that is going to be critical, and likely in the next video, when I'm starting out this section right here with the tier 4, hopefully I might do it off recording. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm hopefully going to have another power source over here, basically either right beside this right here or off to the side over here, so I can power all of this stuff up without touching this reactor over here, which is going to power the stuff over here. Which this reactor won't be here very long, because basically at the end of the day, whenever I get these upgraded, that's going to be the smelter. One of these furnaces is going to be at the end of our tier 4, or our at the end of our tier 4 ore factory. So it'll be basically right here, right behind the enrichment chamber, which is this bad boy right here. So it'll be like right here. And it will basically take whatever dust is in here. So this dust right here, and it will push it straight into a furnace, and that will actually smelt it. So I can just automate that full process from, as of right now, I have to plop the stuff in, and then it goes through, and then I have to pull the stuff out and put it in a furnace. Once I put it in a furnace, it would automate the smelting process. I would pull that off and then put it back in my network. But then of course you can automate the entire process by putting a importer, if I'm not mistaken, onto your purification chamber. I believe it's an importer. It is an importer, right? No, it might be. No, it's an exporter. So you would put your exporter on your purification chamber here, connected to a network storage device, and then on the very other end, on the furnace, you would put an importer that would then pull the blocks back into your network. And you can really do that with one network device, one network storage device, and have those actually at the bottom, and have like other either on the bottom or, I don't know, somewhere else, somewhere that's kind of difficult to see. But regardless, that's looking pretty good. And I think it will continue to look better as we grow it. We'll expand up the thermal evaporation plant, and we'll see what happens. But with all that being said, thank you guys so very much for watching. Remember to subscribe if you're not already. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. If you didn't enjoy the video, leave a comment down below. Let me know what I could do differently to make these videos more enjoyable for you guys. We will continue working on this Mekanism ore factory in the next video. With that being said, thank you guys again, and I will see you guys later. Goodbye.